Ministry of Education. Thankfully, he'll be giving us some important answers to the questions that we have. Bayaga Fatau is one of our correspondents in the Ashanti region. He's also going to be joining us. And Albert Kuzo is also one of our correspondents from the Volta region. Let me go to them first and find out exactly what the situation is like in their region. So, Albert, are you on the line yet? Okay, Albert, I don't seem to have you on the line there, so I'm going to try to reach you again. But Al Hassan, good evening. Can you hear me? Yes, great. Al Hassan, with regards to this particular topic about food supplies in the secondary schools, what is going on in your region where you are? Do schools have enough to feed students? Al Hassan, can you hear me, please? We're not able to hear you, so I'm going to move on to Bayaga, and I'll come back to you when your line is more stable. Bayaga, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, fantastic. You're in the Ashanti region right now, I believe.
Yes.
Is the Ashanti region also experiencing these problems, the secondary schools in the Ashanti region?
Yes, so in the Ashanti region, just like the other regions across the country, I mean, the schools here also face challenges. I mean, challenges with food items and all of that. So even just 3 days ago, the chairman of CHAS in the region said that, I mean, most of the schools are there without enough food items. So some of them, at times, you know, it's very difficult for students to feed and all of that. And even today, I did my own rounds, and you know, many of the students were moving outside to buy food and all of that. But I asked them, they said it's because they are on salary break. But for the chairman of CHAS, he said that the region is seriously, you know, lacking food items, and he you know, stated clearly that even in his own school, sometimes he has to, you know, give money out for them to go buy food items to come and, you know, cook for the students, because he feels that when he does that, then it will help to, you know, prevent the students from engaging in a demonstration. So it's very serious when you look at, I mean, the schools in the Ashanti region. I mean, the CHAS president made it clear that, you know, I mean, the supply of food, sometimes when the food comes, is very, you know, inadequate. Even sometimes it doesn't last for more than 2 weeks, and it's you know, a serious situation which, I mean, they are worried about.
Right. Thank you, Bayaga, for that situation report. I'll come back to you for more questions. But let me go back to the line. I think I have Al Hassan now. Al Hassan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, great. Your line was not stable initially, but tell us what it is like or where you are right now. Are the schools able to cover the feeding requirements of their students?
Not exactly. I just left some of the schools in town. I visited Wat Setek, that is Wat Secondary Technical, and I also visited Wat Senior High School.
Right.
Fortunately, I met the headmaster of Wat Senior High School. I interacted with him on the situation at hand. He told me that he has been in office waiting to receive the food items. He told me that he received a message from the chairman of the heads of second cycle institutions in the Upper West region that the government or the authorities at the national level have dispatched rice and sugar to the various schools. So he told me that he has been in office waiting to receive these food items. And he told me that if he is there by 5:00 p.m. and he didn't receive any information, he'll have to close and go back home and do other things over there. But he told me that the situation in his school, that is why senior high school, is that the students are they are starved. They are not fed in the right or proper manner. This is exactly what he told me. He said the situation is that bad and that government or the authorities will have to come in and help. That they gave the government up to Friday. If nothing has been done about the situation, then they will have to close down the schools. From the interaction, this is what I picked on the ground.
So as of the time you were there had been no change in this, no positive change, that is?
There has been no positive change in the situation, as I've rightly said earlier. He said he had information that the government have dispatched sugar and rice to the various schools. And that would have been the positive news. But since he hasn't received them yet, the situation hasn't changed much.
Right. Thank you so much, Al-Hassan. Let me go back to the line because we have the PRO of the Ministry of Education. Divine, I'll come to you in a moment. But Yaopoku, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. We also know that earlier the ministry released a statement saying that this situation would be under control by close of day today. Is that still a statement we should hold on to?
Yeah, let me say good evening to yourself and to my colleagues on the other end. Yes, it still holds, and one of your reporters just alluded to that fact that there has been some consignment going to the various regions for.
Actually, said they had heard that it had been released, but he didn't see it. So.
No, what we're saying is that today food will move from the various points to the various warehouses and designations where schools can pick their items, and that is how the whole plan is. So the schools will be at a designated point where they will pick the food items, and that is exactly what one of your reporters alluded to. So as it is, the school should remain calm. The assurance is that we are bringing in these items to support the process.
Mr. Opoku, what's the cause of these shortages? Because they seem to happen intermittent. I mean, last year we did hear there were some shortages. This year, out of the blue, we find out there are some shortages. Do they happen at particular times in the year?
I can't figure out what the possible answer that could be.
Right.
But again, there are 18 different food items that are used in various senior high schools. So it's likely 1, 2, 3 probably maybe out of the reach of the schools in terms of its usage. That is normal. So while it goes like that, the report, as you receive it quickly, we have to step in to avert any possible difficulty that the schools will be facing. So and this is a typical example. And you know there are items that are used daily, and as it's reported, and then we move it to avert the situation. And a typical example is the sugar and the rice issue that the reporter mentioned, and huge consignment is straight away moving into the schools. By tomorrow, others probably may receive theirs today. Tomorrow, the whole consignment will be in the regional base for schools to pick up. So we do anticipate that some food items probably may be used up and will require a beef up of their items from the end of buffer stock. So exactly that is what pertains on the ground. That is why the ministry, it was important that the ministry get these items for the schools to run. So there wouldn't be any closure of schools as a result of non-food item out of the 18 that are used in our schools. So there wouldn't be any closure of schools, especially when these huge consignments are straight away moving into various schools. So parents should remain calm, the public should remain calm. We are dealing with the situation, and the evidence is what your reporter just said.
Is this a release, the release of these food items, is it going to all the schools that are experiencing shortage, or are you addressing them in phases?
No, every schools do have their specific challenge. Probably some may have enough rice, others may not have, others may have sugar, others may not have. So it depends on the item which you need at your end. So that is what we look out for and bring it out. So every school has got a supplier, and that is what the consignment means. And
right. Interesting that you mentioned suppliers, because I was just coming to that. We know that earlier the suppliers complained the government was owing them arrears, and that was the reason they refused to supply the food. Has this been cleared?
I haven't heard of any supplier saying that government do owe, that is why they are not supplied. Definitely there will be arrears in the course of the payment. The reason is that you supply, then you have 60 days to clear where buffer stock pays what you supply. So definitely within the process there will be arrears that we need to take care of. But we are still in business, and they are still servicing their part of their contract with buffer stock, and basically that is why some of the as we mentioned or discussing, some food items are straight away moving to the school's end. And definitely there will be arrears in the course of the process, but the most important aspect is that since huge consignment of food, some food items which are used mostly in our schools are moving in straight to the regional base for schools to pick up.
So you're saying there is no backlog. I mean, if I understand correctly, what you're saying is that there's just a cycle where they supply. It takes about 60 days for them to get paid. Beyond that, there hasn't been an extended period beyond that where they've not been paid?
No, I said that definitely there will be arrears in the course of the payment. Looking at how the operation is done, definitely there will be arrears. So as and when we move and clearance is made, and just recently, you remember the Minister of Education, Dr. Yosef Duchum, announced some payments within the supply chain, not only to buffer stock but to other suppliers as well. So as and when we move on, money is coming, we do clearance from that end. So definitely there will be arrears in there for government to pay.
These arrears, is it significant? Are you able to tell us how much government owes the suppliers?
Every amount is significant, especially you looking at what is being supplied today. It's a huge sum.
Is there a figure to it? A huge sum? How much are we looking at?
Actually, I don't have any figure with me yet. Probably maybe later I can supply it, give you a figure. But as a start, I don't have any figure at my end. But the bottom line is that there will be arrears for government to clear, looking at how the operation is done. So we've done some. We'll continue paying the arrears for suppliers to have space under their hand to fully discharge their duties as expected of them.
Yeah, Opoko, I'll come back to you in a moment, but let me quickly engage Divine Pay, who's a research fellow with the Africa Education Watch. They have some suggestions for government, so I'm going to talk to him and see if you can respond to that. Divine, good evening. Thank you for joining us on Spotlight.
Good evening, and thanks for having me.
Right. You have been calling for a review of the feeding component. Why?
Yeah, well, rightly, we all know that from the onset of this program for senior high school, there are challenges in its implementation, including regular supply of food to the various schools. This is not the first time we are hearing about food shortage. We've heard about it last year, and even at the beginning of this year, we've heard about it, where Charles even threatened schools on the various schools. And they had to back down that particular threat when the Ministry of Education stepped in by beginning to release through the National Food Buffer Stock 130 million for food to be supplied to the school. And after that 130 million of funds released, the stock is still in arrears to the food suppliers. What happens is that food suppliers supply to the National Food Buffer Stock, and then they also supply to the school. But it's becoming difficult for the suppliers to do that because of the arrears that the government is owing them, and also given the current inflation in the country. So not as we came to look at how sustainably we can clear these areas and then proceed to release funds on time, we are going to see the reoccurrence of this. And the only solution is to appreciate the fact that there is so much financial burden on government when it comes to the implementation of the phrase in high school. And government will need to get to the point to admit that yes, indeed, there's so much financial pressure on it for us to also to holistically review it and see how best that can be addressed. There are several calls from different angles for government to consider on what can be done for sustainability of the program. And as we have identified that one of the gaps remains shortage of food in the system, it means that how best can we address that particular aspect of the prisoner? One of the components that we have identified is that they review how parents feed their children. If parents can feed by some percentage of amount that government feeds the student with, that could be a solution. Otherwise, going forward in the future, we can even change how we have structured our boarding system. Currently, it is 30% boarding and 30% day. In future, we can begin to get to a point whereby boarding system will rather be 30% and this component becomes 70%. When we get to that point, it means that posting of students will be to schools will be in their various districts, will be closer to their various districts, so that commuting from home to school could be easier for them. Other than that.
Right, Divine, are you there? Okay, Divine, there seems to be a challenge, but I'll come back to you to finish up your submission. In the meantime, I'll just go back to your Pukumensa to respond to that. Yao, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, you heard from Divine, and they are making some suggestions to the entire program. Is this something that the ministry is considering?
That hasn't come to our notice. I think the public engagement, we're monitoring the public discourse. And I think all suggestions are in the best interest of the policy that is being rolled out. And the most important aspect is that we have all embraced the policy of free SHS in ensuring that we give our citizens the needed education for societal good. And every suggestion is welcomed, and I will, after a year, want to engage my brother, if possible, to sit down and look into their proposals, put it on the table where we can have a meaningful discussion and engage on that line to better the system. And that I think that is what promotes the cohesion that we need at the base as we speak. So we do welcome any suggestion, and we'll look into it, the merit of every suggestion which is brought out. The ministry will look at it.
But Mr. Opoku, internally, is this program sustainable? Because the problems have been pointed out that keep recurring. Government is struggling to feed the students.
But you know what? As I indicated, it's not always the case that there isn't any food in our schools. There are some food items that may be not in the school at a particular moment, and that does not mean that there isn't any food in the system. And
so you are saying that every point in time there's something.
Yes,
it's not all there, but there's something.
Yes, at every point in time there are food items. As I mentioned to you, 18 food items are used.
What are some of these items? Because all we keep hearing is rice and sugar.
Because the rice and sugar is frequently used. They are made from some brown oil, margarine, walnut, etc. So these are the various food items which are used as the menu is planned out. So it cannot be the case that there is nothing in the school at all. There may be pockets of them. For example, if you look at the upper East regions report, where the charts letter that you normally refer to, you realize that some food items were mentioned out of the 18. Some food items were mentioned as lacking in our schools. So We paint the picture that there is nothing at all in our school, and that is what I want to draw the public's attention to it. So we have staff in there, but we do not have, at times, and it's normal that we wouldn't have the full complement of the food items in the school at a go. We may have them at a go when we are starting the academic calendar. So in the middle of it, you realize that some of the food items are used up, and will call for additional add-up to it. And again, another challenge that we've noticed is as a result of some of the schools do not have enough storage facilities where they can keep their items at a go. So normally what happens is that the supplier supplies them in bits. As and when you need it, then that is where it comes. So these are some of the challenges. You have to look at the warehouses of our schools. Others do have enough storage facilities to store their food where they wouldn't be asking the supplier to bring in something at a particular moment. So let's not create the impression that there is nothing in our schools. There are food in our schools, but it's got to do with a specific item within a certain period that probably may be out of stock.
Mr. Opoku-Mensah, we know that food inflation has recently climbed some 30.1%. Could this be part of the reason that we're seeing these shortages? Is it more expensive for government to procure food?
Government still procures food through the buffer stock, and that is why we are able to move, as within this emergency period, move these consignment to the various regions for pickup to the various schools. Be it whatever price that pertains on the market. Government is part of the market. We are also part of the market. So whatever the market price dictates, we adjust to meet the market demand. So that is why we are able to give our supply. That is why we have at every material moment there are food items, some food items in our schools. So the prices, as it pertains, fluctuate, but that does not affect what responsibility government is up to or government is required to do. So we are doing what is expected of us, and schools are also doing what's expected of them. So as and when the challenge comes, as we are discussing, now we rise up to the occasion and ensure that we have a conducive atmosphere in our schools.
Right. So, Mr. Opoku-Mensah, before I let you go, you're assuring us that schools are not going to close due to shortage of food. Parents will not have to feed their children either.
No, the schools there wouldn't be any closure of schools. And once those in Form 3 final year, we started feeding them right on first year up to Form 3 to be allowed. And so that pertains to the other year groups as well. So we'll continue to discharge activities the satisfaction of students as well as the parents and the general public. But we are not saying that, let's say, if on a visiting day you have something for your ward, as a result, we are not saying that you can't give it out. You can still give it out as part of what parents and guardians normally do. So our part is to ensure that there is a consistent feeding plan, 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, supper, is ready on the table for students to enjoy, to stay on campus and enjoy their studies. And basically that is the core mandate that we're doing through buffer stock outfit to ensure that schools do get the food item that is required. So we are continuing that, and I want to assure parents that they should be rest assured 3 times a day for their wards or their kit will be done or given out to them. Students should also be assured as day in and day out they do enjoy. Even during the summer break, schools typically schools that allowed others to go and celebrate Salah, and those that remain on campus were still fed. Even on break, when a student decides not to go and want to do a stay back, you still do enjoy the same meal. And as the program is, day students also do enjoy the meal, and nothing has changed right from the onset. So let's remain calm. Yes, we anticipate that challenge, and anybody who is within that system will anticipate that at a particular moment, one food item will be out of the system and will require that we do supply. And that shouldn't be the basis to call out that there are no food in our schools. No school in Ghana has ever been denied a breakfast, a lunch, or supper. So that is the assurance that I want to give out to parents. Let's remain calm, and the government will do the needful as we witness, and that by tomorrow, most of the schools will have these items in their schools.
Right, Mr. Opoku-Mensah, I'll come back to you in a moment. I wanted to let you go, but I just have one more question. I want to find out, beyond the feeding plan and parents sometimes giving food to their wards, is there room for structuring the policy in a way that parents contribute to it? Parents actually contribute to feeding their children officially. I'll come back for that response. Let me go back to the line. We have our Volta regional correspondent. I want to find out also from him what the situation is like in the Volta region. Hello, good evening. Hello, Albert. Albert, can you hear me? Okay, are you able to use the phone speaker because I can't hear you? Instead of your earpiece, maybe you can just take off. Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, so the no food syndrome is actually hitting some secondary institutions here in the Volta region. And just unfortunately, school authorities are not willing to comment on the development. But a brief investigation I carried out as correspondent in the region, I have evidence that some schools in Wu municipality and Wu West districts are actually facing this challenge. I was in one technical institution yesterday that is called Chito Technical Secondary School in the Wu West district, and authorities were not willing to speak on the development, but per sources from the institution, indeed there's a food shortage. And the whole of yesterday and today, you see final year students from the various high schools in the region coming through, trying to go home. So if you approach students who you see on the street or around the lorry parks, they tell you that, oh, there's no food, that's why we are going home to spend a weekend, or that's why we are going home for home chew, which we normally call food parents prepare for us. But then if you contact the school, the unfortunate news is that authorities are not willing to comment on this development. So the no food syndrome is actually hitting some second
Albert, let me just get some clarification there. Now, when you say there are students actually at the transport yards who are going home because there's no food in school, it sounds a little extreme. Is it so bad that they are not getting food in school?
Great. So, interacting with some of the students from one of the, I should say, first class high schools here in Ghana, they actually indicated that they gave them food that day. That was yesterday, but it was not enough. So the development each day is that although the school is providing food, it's not enough as it used to be. So because of this, some of them decide to go home. Those, especially those from around, those from Accra, they say they don't have any of it. So they are calling parents to send them something or money. But those from within the whole enclave and then the Volta, most of them are seeking permission or are on exit to go home quickly just to get some provision and return. So that's the situation. Some of the schools, they are actually feeding the students, but the food is not enough.
Right. So that goes back to Yaopoku's submission where he was saying there is some food there. It's not completely empty. Let me come back to Yaopoku. My apologies, Divine, but I'll come to you in a moment. Yaopoku, from the submissions we're getting, it looks like heads of some of these schools are afraid to speak to the media or engage with the media. Is there a reason? Has the ministry stopped any schools from speaking to the media?
No, the ministry has policymakers haven't done anything like that. And I believe, if I am not speaking, I probably may assume, based on the communication plan of the Ghana Education Service, and it's maybe probably within that space, but as I indicated, that is why the outfit of the public relations for both Ghana Education Service and the ministry are available for the media to engage. And all we're discussing, whatever be the problem or challenge, definitely will be brought to the doorstep of Ghana Education Service. And where they have to contact the ministry, they do contact where we do resolve it together. So I don't know what heads probably may be talking about. So we haven't asked anybody not to speak to anybody. That is not the case. But as I indicated or pointed out to you earlier, at specific times there is always some food items in the school, and that can be verified on the ground, and it's as a result of some food items that may be out of stock in the various schools. So that is why it differs from school. The challenge probably, this person will have this and the other wouldn't have that. This person may have an abundance of probably rice or maize. The other school may be in short supply, etc. So I don't. We need to remain calm, and as I pointed out, we are getting to the base with these items which are out of stock in our various schools. And I don't know, there is no need to panic. Students will be fed 3 times a day as the calendar says.
Right, Yaopoku, these things that we keep experiencing, specifically with feeding, is it possible for government to anticipate the need so that the need is met before we have these issues?
Well, you know what? At times, most especially if you follow the pattern, normally we do have this experience when new admissions are done, because we may have an ideal number as to the number of students that will be entering into the system for first year. But again, while the admission process hasn't ended, you wouldn't be able to know the exact number of students within a certain school until the whole process is suspended. And that is why we do anticipate. These are part of what management look at and what we normally do expect. But you get to realize that it normalizes when the whole process is completed. So this is one of them, and that is why you don't have to panic over that, and that is why you should have that firm belief and the confidence that students will be fed 3 times a day. Students are fed today as we speak 3 times a day as expected. So we do acknowledge within this space for now, but that does not call for the kind of panic that probably others may want to anticipate.
Right. I'll be with you again in a short moment, because all our questions seem to defer back to you now. Let me go to Divine again. I think his line is more stable now. Divine, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fantastic. I mean, let's just pick up from where you left off. What exactly is the suggestion for the review of this program?
All right. Before I come to that, Yao has making a point that we keep feeding the students 3 times in a day.
Okay.
Just to make in our mind that yes, the students are being fed, but that's not just their responsibility. It's just to ensure that the students are well fed as well. So if you have only rice and you are feeding the students rice throughout the week, you have been feeding the students.
So you're looking at the quality of the food that they're being fed.
You're looking at the quality. The quality is very important. So you shouldn't create an impression that our responsibility is to ensure that the students are fed 3 times in a day, and we are doing that. No, so you, the students, are not supposed to take beans in the morning and they are taking beans in the morning, then it's defeating the essence of the quality of food supply to the students. So we shouldn't create an impression that once the students are being fed, that ends it. No, they're supposed to be fed and fed very well. So that's the problem remains. And again, continue to show the issue once in a while. We've witnessed an issue of food shortage. It shouldn't be an issue that should be discussed widely as it is having attention. But not an issue that is being once in a while. We have heard of this even at the beginning of this particular year, whereby child tried to go or shut down the various schools just because there was shortage of food. And this is not just this year. It has been previous year. In fact, since the inception of the program, we have several of these issues of food shortage. And at least by now, 6 years of implementation, we should have addressed this sustainably. But it just paints the clearer picture that the problem is not about having an issue of food shortage reported from a school to you, and then you are rushing to supply food and end it. That is not the issue. Issue is not released to the school on time, and thereby they can also get the basic food items that they need, and then also fund is not being released to the national buffer store for all payments to food suppliers to the store, so that we can have regular supply of food to the various schools. So all other issues are just the symptoms of the problem. The problem remains that there is inadequate money to finance the free in the high school, and government continues to struggle to finance the program. And it is so evident that government will have to deprive resources from the basic level in order to be able to sustain the implementation of the free in the high school. And therefore, if you want a solution, then it has to be how do we finance the entire free in the high school program. Otherwise, the symptoms will just continue to be discussed every day. The issue is about sustainable funding for the free in the high school program. And it calls for a holistic review of its implementation. And I also say there are several brilliant ideas coming from different angles, from the academics, from civil society organizations, from parents, even from the opposition party. And government will have to appreciate the fact that at least after 6 years of implementation, in any policy cycle, evaluation is so important. It's nothing wrong if you take a step to evaluate the program to see what is doing well and what is not doing well, so that you can fine-tune the implementation of the policy. It is not a failure if you review the program and then you fine-tune it. It's never a failure, but to make it more workable. So I believe we have to go beyond this to address the root cause, which is about sustainable financing of our national high school program. And that sends the responsibility of the government to take the step. Nobody else can call for a review of the program. It's only government who started the implementation, to put the body to start the review to see what can be done and what cannot be done. As I said, we have all the time sending ideas across about how to fine-tune this program. We have several ideas on this, and not only from us. Imani Ghana has done several proposals on this. The academics have done several proposals on this. Parents are sending several proposals on this. The Ministry of Education and the government at large will only have to take a step to appreciate that the free high school implementation is suffering from financial sustainability, and that is where the problem will have to. Otherwise, reoccurrence of this issue of food shortage will always be there. And
right.
That to talk about the shortage itself, as we have mentioned, we wouldn't have to call on parents as it stands now, but they also have to be examined. And then all students, we have heard in some of the schools that all students are intervening to help pay some of the amount that can be procured.
But is this just a small number of parents? Because if we're shifting any part of this to parents, it feels like we're taking the burden from government and putting it on parents, and are parents positioned to absorb it?
Even as part of our recommendation of this whole phase high school implementation is that government will need to get to a point to develop a framework that will regularize how PTAs and all students are able to come in to support the school, So how can a framework be made, be formalized and streamlined to be able to streamline the operation? So that they will be also to play an active role, not only in the school governance, but also maybe in the financing of the school activity. But when Abed says everything is free, and then we even heard during the start of the pre-senior high school, some parents were trying to supply furniture, but the head teachers were indicted because parents were trying to help. Then you are tying the hand of those people to be able to function well. We know that prior to the introduction of this pre-senior high school, PTAs were functioning so well. They were able to carry out projects that they're able to finance. But with the pre-senior high school, they are struggling to raise funds to be able to carry out projects in their school. So once you have made it that, look, everything is on government is able to do it, then you have time, i.e., PTA, and then the old students to be able to come in to help us. It should be. So part of the solution of this pre-senior high school implementation is to be able to formalize the operation of the PTA level.
Right. Thank you so much, Divine. Thank you, Divine, for all those submissions. Divine Pace, a research fellow with the African Education Watch. Let me just go back to the line and engage my correspondents quickly. Al-Hassan, if you're there. Al-Hassan, in all your engagements, have you been able to engage with any of the parents? I can't hear you, Al-Hassan, so I'm just going to go straight to Bayaga. Fatau, have you been able to speak with any parents on this issue?
Yes, so I engaged some parents and they are not really happy with the situation. They say that, when government was bringing the SHS, it was promised that, yes, everything was going to be all right for the awards.
But are they willing to contribute? Are these parents willing to contribute money to feeding the awards?
Yes, so some of them say that yes, as far as if they are asked to, because even with our government saying that they should support, they send money to the award. So if government knows that maybe they are unable to take in charge of all the feeding, then they are willing to. Some of them say they are willing, and some also say that no. Government promised that they were going to make sure that things would be done properly. Their feeding will not be a problem. So government should go ahead and do that. If not, they should scrap the free education and make sure that, they themselves will take in charge of everything as they used to do.
Right. Thank you for that. Let me go to Albert and just find out from him what the parents are saying on his end. Albert, have you spoken with any parents?
Yes, good. On the side of parents, the issue here is that some are actually politicizing the development. Some of them are like, this government cannot just implement the free senior high initiative, but they went ahead to, carried it out. And now these are some of the challenges, consequences that they are facing. And we should also know that this no food, it's not only happening in the second cycle institutions. In the basic schools, caterers are also at home as well. And some of the parents that I've interacted with mentioned that in a PTA meeting, they had an agreement with school authorities that they will contribute money to feed their wards. So prior to the strike, parents in basic schools here in the region, some schools actually agreed with school authorities, contributed money to feed their wards. But then in the high school level, that is not possible. So as I reported earlier, some students, especially the final years, are going home. That is the situation there. And some of the parents are also actually politicizing the developments.
Right. Thank you so much, Albert. I'll just go to Yao Poku to have the last word there. Yao, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Just quickly, in about 2 minutes, if you can help it, the case of quality, which has been made by many people, it's not, just about providing food or any kind of food. Is government able to monitor the quality of the food that's given to students?
Yeah, just recently, I believe you saw images of the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Sarah Dixon, with some schools dining with the students. Just recently, as well, the Deputy Minister, the Reverend Intim Fojo, also visited schools and dining with our students. Whatever is fed to the students, teachers also eat safe. and we've never had any complaint of quality from the schools. Our matrons are on top of their duty. We need to understand that the menu is planned to ensure that quality is served by ensuring that we do have the nutrient, the 6 food nutrients in every diet, so that we can have the students will have a healthy growth in the course of their study on campus. And I don't know what we term as quality, probably what some of the food items that we do by outside, that is what we want to equate it into what pertains in our schools. That is not the case. Their menu is well planned. The food items which are supplied to the schools are well planned to ensure the nutrients are available for them. So quality has always been there, and we will maintain that quality for quality growth, because these are future leaders. But again, a very quick response. I heard of one of your reporters say that parents want to contribute, and they are contributing by giving money to their wards. Well, once your child is in school, pocket money are always given. And we can't equate pocket money as a means of implementing the food item which is being sent to the school. By 5 p.m., supper is served. Somebody may, from 5, 6 until prep, can't cope it. So that is why we also do have the chop box available with provisions in there. So we need the provisions in the school. The pocket money, I'll give you what parents should be doing. But we shouldn't create the assumption that when I give out provision to my students, as a result of government's inability to feed the student, that is why parents are giving out provisions and pocket money.
Thank you so much.
We are feeding them 3 times a day, and the quality has not changed, and we can't compromise on the quality.
Noted on that. Thank you so much, Yao Pokumens, and his Deputy PRO from the Ministry of Education. You can be sure that MX24 Television will follow up for an update on this particular issue to find out if schools have enough food. And we'll be bringing you an update on the news at 6:30 p.m. in just 30 minutes. So please tune in. My name is Nwang Falong, and on behalf of the entire production team here at MX24 Television, we're grateful for your time. Join us again, same time tomorrow. Good evening.
Ice Adonis, the story of stepsisters whose rivalry turns to hatred when one sister is framed for murder. From the action-packed opening episode featuring a prison break followed by a dramatic fight at a wedding, the story twists and turns through 5 years as the wrong sister battles to win back the life and love stolen from her. Be ready for the suspense, the excitement, and the emotional roller coaster. An addictive tale of hatred, rivals, manipulation, and deceit, set in the glamorous world of the cosmetics industry. Ice Adonis premieres on MX24 this July. For sponsorship and inquiries, call 0243 024 552.
Dreaming of a property for your home or workspace is one thing, but finding the property at the best locations with the most favorable condition and closing that deal is another. And that's why we are here. From Accra, Ghana, to Lagos, Nigeria, to Cape Town, South Africa, we are bringing you prime properties, affordable home solutions, and intriguing interviews with CEOs of various real estate companies and everything in between and on. My name is Kwesi Otten Desmond, and this is Property Take. Property Take, your gateway to Africa's real estate market. Showing this on every Wednesday, 7:13 p.m. on MX24.
Hey guys, it's another Tuesday evening, and you know how we do it right here on MX24. It's your favorite tech show, Tech Today. My name is Eddie Kumsin, your regular host. I'm here to give you the latest trends, the rumors and the leaks in the world of tech. We're going to have beautiful conversations today. We're going to have our tech tip for the week. We're going to have our app for the week. But before we do all that, let's just go for this quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Ice Adonis, the story of stepsisters whose rivalry turns to hatred when one sister is framed for murder. From the action-packed opening episode featuring a prison break followed by a dramatic fight at a wedding, the story twists and turns through 5 years as the wrong sister battles to win back the life and love stolen from her. Be ready for the suspense, the excitement, and the emotional roller coaster. An addictive tale of hatred, rivals, manipulation, and deceit set in the glamorous world of the cosmetics industry. Ice Adonis premieres on MX24 this July. For sponsorship and inquiries, call 0243 024 552.
Welcome back from that commercial break. Don't forget to join the conversation on all social media platforms at MX24GH with the hashtag TechToday. Instagram have been rolling out series of updates, and the most exciting one for me is the fact that Reels have text-to-speech now, just like TikTok. I've rounded up all these news and rumors and leaks in our tech headlines for today. Let's just go have a quick look at that.
Instagram head Adam Mosseri said last Wednesday that the company has added 2 new features to improve user experience, including a rage shake that will let users report a problem more quickly. If you're using the app and it isn't working as it's supposed to, shake the phone while the app is open and a pop-up screen will ask, "Did something go wrong?" with space for you to report the issue. The new feature Instagram shipped Wednesday is what Mosseri called a finally feature. The ability to delete a single image from a photo carousel. It's something users have been asking for, he added, and the company finally got around to shipping it. You can now go and pick one that you don't like. Maybe you're not into that anymore, he explained in a video posted on Twitter. When you have a photo carousel open in the app, go to the 3 dots menu at the top right, hit edit, swipe to the photo you want to get rid of, and you'll see a delete icon in the top left that will let you remove it from the carousel. The carousel feature is iOS only for now, but all US Instagram users can rage shake right away, regardless of platform. This feature will give Instagram feedback that will help it prioritize bug fixes. Mosseri added, "You can explain exactly what happened, how you ended up in that place, and all of the emotions and feels that got you going. And we'll have someone take a look at it." Facebook parent company Meta said it is testing new ways for users to customize the content they see in their news feeds. The company said in a blog post Thursday that the test available is a small percentage of users to start, would allow people to adjust their preferences to increase or reduce the amount of content they see from specific friends, family groups, and pages they're connected with on the platform. Facebook has tweaked the way the news feed presents content numerous times in the past several years and seems to keep rethinking what content should be prioritized and why. In 2015, it said it was changing news feeds to favor content from your close friends over that from brands and publishers. In 2016, Facebook said again it would adjust its algorithm, so posts from friends would get priority over publishers. Then in 2018, the company said it is changing the news feeds to posts that might spark back and forth discussion. Also known as engagement, which is Facebook's bread and butter, would be more likely to appear than more passive content. Guess what Facebook did in 2020? Well, a few things, but also it tweaked the news feed yet again, this time to favor more trustworthy and quality news sources. It rolled back that nicer version of the newsfeed in December 2020 to the reported chagrin of some Facebook employees. How the social media giant controls its newsfeed has largely been a mystery, but Facebook released a report in September. It said it would give the public some insights into how it decides what content it suppresses or demotes, like clickbait and posts from those who repeatedly violate its rules. But now users in the new test will be able to turn down the volume on friends, family pages, and groups in their newsfeed if they prefer. Meta said the blog post that this was part of our ongoing work to give people more control over news feeds, so they see more of what they want and less of what they don't. Sounds great, again. Facebook is also going to make changes to the news controls for its business customers, expanding the topic exclusion controls to a test of group advisors that run ads in English. The advertisers can select from 3 topic groups: news and politics, social issues, and crime and tragedy, so that they can prevent their ads from appearing near posts about those topics if they prefer. Instagram has added text-to-speech and video effects to its TikTok competitor, Reels, 2 features TikTok has had for some time. The robotic voiceovers used as narrations for videos grew so ubiquitous on TikTok, in fact, that voiceover actor Bev Standing sued the company in May, saying it didn't have permission to use her voice. In September, TikTok reached a settlement with Standing that included a licensing agreement. While it's popular among TikTok creators, more importantly, text-to-speech is a widely used accessibility feature that allows blind people and those with low vision to hear spoken versions of written text. To use text-to-speech in Reels, open the Instagram app and go to the Reels camera. Record and upload a video and add text to the video using its text tool. Tap the text bubble to get to the 3-dot menu and select text-to-speech. Then choose which voice option you want. Then post the reel as usual. If you want to add voice effects to your reel, which lets you modify audio including a voiceover after recording a reel, tap the music note to open the audio mixer, tap effects, and choose the voice effect you want. Options include helium, giant, and robot. Reels launched in 2020, meant to be a direct competitor to the widely popular TikTok. Instagram launched a bonus program for creators in July, part of parent company Facebook, now Meta, planned to pay $1 billion to creators through 2022, and has offered creators with high follower counts as much as $35,000 in bonuses to create reels. Meanwhile, TikTok has evolved its text-to-speech feature with specialized character voices. On Friday, it introduced text-to-speech voices from Disney characters including Stitch, Chewbacca, Rocket Raccoon, and others. A new update for Apple's iCloud Windows app has added a password generator as well as support for Apple's ProRAW and ProRes photo and video formats to the cloud storage utility. The update, which was first spotted by Macrubers, also adds the ability for participants of a shared iCloud Drive file or folder to add or remove other users. The addition of a password generator makes Apple's iCloud keychain a much more viable cross-platform password manager. It follows an update in August which allowed Windows users to access but not generate passwords from their iCloud account. Together with the Chrome iCloud extension Apple released at the beginning of the year, Windows iCloud users now have access to basic password management features when they're away from their Apple device. Given the option, I'd personally still recommend that anyone looking for a password manager opt for a true platform agnostic alternative. I recommend Bitwarden as the best free option because as well as being available on Mac, iOS, and Windows, it's also available on Android, so you're not locked in to Apple's mobile platform if you want to switch in future. But using iCloud Keychain is better than not using a password manager at all. Meanwhile, the addition of ProRes and ProRAW support is useful given that the latest iPhones are now capable of shooting in both formats. Making it easier to sync these with your Windows PC would be useful if you want to view them or more likely edit them on a Windows machine. An Android update to Google Messages on Android allows it to properly display emoji reactions sent from the iPhone Messages app. 9 to 5 Google reports. The update addresses a long-standing issue that occurs when users of Apple iMessage service chat with friends using the Messages app on Android. Previously, when iPhone user reacted to an Android user's message using an emoji, it appeared as a separate text when received on Android, often resulting in confusion and lots of unnecessary clutter. After the update, however, the message flow is a lot simpler. Screenshots show the emoji reactions appear attached to the intended text, as though they were sent by another Google Messenger user. Tapping on an emoji reaction displays a pop-up saying that it's being translated from iPhone. Interestingly, emoji reactions sent from iPhone seem to sometimes appear as different emoji on Android. The heart emoji, for example, reportedly appears as heart eyes on Android. iPhone users can also retroactively change their emoji reaction, and the change will be reflected seamlessly in the Android app. the feature doesn't appear to have widely rolled out just yet, even for users with the latest beta version of the Google Messages app. We tried, but were unable to force the emoji reaction to display in their own text. But when it arrives, it should remove a small point of friction in iPhone to Android communications, even if it's still a far cry from offering iMessage natively on Android.
Those were our tech headlines for today. Today I'm going to have a beautiful conversation with two beautiful women right here with me. I'm just going to let them introduce themselves and then tell me why they are here. So let's just start with you.
Okay, hi Eddie. So
Hi.
I'm Otima Yuenchi. I'm a data scientist and also the co-founder of Because She Can.
I'm Kweyaki Afibilebo. I'm also a data scientist. I currently work as a technology auditor and I'm also co-founder of Because She Can.
Was it data science that joined you two?
Actually,
Yeah,
yes,
at some point, yes.
some
But
point.
we've known each
Are
other
you feeling
from...
nostalgic right now, like getting memories and flashbacks?
Yeah. We've known each other from secondary school, so
Oh,
that's...
which school?
Achimota School.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go on. So you're here to talk about Because She Can.
Yes.
Can you just briefly tell us what it's about, your mission, your vision, what you're doing? Because I know you're trying to help underprivileged women, right?
Well, women in general.
Women in general,
Yes.
yeah. So just tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so first of all, Because She Can is a community for women
Okay.
of all ages. Well, mostly from, let's say, 9. When you are able to hold a laptop and say that you want to code, you are open to join us, right? So what we hope to do, or what we do, is that we are supporting women who want to make their debut into the tech space, and then also assisting women who have already started their journey in tech. So we are creating like a community where they can speak to other like-minded women like themselves. And we do that also through mentorships, one-on-one mentorships, group mentorships, peer mentorships, and then training programs.
Has it only got to do with coding or everything tech? Let me come to you, Afi. I think I will be using the middle name because it's easier.
That's all right.
It's easier for my existence. So is it just restricted to coding or everything tech?
It's everything tech. It's Because She Can, and we are for women in tech. And so coding is an integral part of tech, but there are so many fields in tech as well. So we also seek to entreat women to know that there's so much in the tech space for everyone, and it's not just coding that you can venture into. So we do awareness as well as an organization. We let women know the different fields there are in the technology space. So sometimes women reach out to us and then they go like, I do not know what I want to do. I know I want to be in tech, but I really do not know what field in tech I want to delve into. And so with these women, we have discussions with them. We get on a call together and then we ask them their expectations, what they are good at. And then we also provide them with the materials. They read and they come back to us and go like, oh, I am good at drawing, I'm good at this, and I don't want to code, but I think I can delve into UX and UI design. And then we provide them with the resources, and then at some point in time, we find a mentor in that space for that woman. And so that is basically what we do as well.
What birthed the dream for Because She Can? Like, how did you start? What conversations went on? Just a brief history.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's two things. One, from personal experience. And then two, because of the need.
Okay.
So we are both women in tech, like we mentioned. We from in the university we study tech-related subjects. I did computer engineering. She did IT. So we know firsthand what it feels like to be in a class. For example, in my class, we're just 3 girls in computer engineering with about 20 boys. So you can already imagine how daunting or it will feel just to be the minority in that class. So when you have people around you that are doing the same thing as you, look like you, it pushes you to do more. And so we wanted to create that community. And since the 70s, the decline of women in technology has been going down instead of rising. So we want to also contribute to that.
How do you get funding for your NGO? Right? How do you get funding to keep going?
Okay, so currently, we've not been able to get funding from any international organization per se. We've been running on personal funds, and also with our current program, which is procuring laptops for women who code, we have been soliciting for funds from the public. So through donations, people donate. Sometimes it's an organization that also donates to support our cause. So right now it's just personal funds and then crowdfunding initiatives that we get our funds.
You just mentioned your current program, but let's just take a step back. Like, what are some of the programs that you've done and the impacts that you think it's had on the women that you've helped?
Okay, so we've had segments where we were celebrating women in tech. So we believe very much in representation because being in a space where, let's say from primary school, your science teacher is a man, your BDT teacher is a man, your math teacher is a man. Being in that class, you don't really see yourself. Nobody is telling you that you cannot be a woman in tech or you cannot do science or math, but you are seeing all the people teaching you around you. So that also kind of wires you to think that you cannot be in this field. So we started a segment for celebrating women in tech where we highlight women who are already in that space, and then we post them like across our social media, tell our audience what they do, where they started, the skills that they have, so that people can also know that there's people around or people out there like me. So because through that, we also had people reaching out to us because they see that there are other women like them, and then they also come onto our program. We've also had some mentorship sessions as well.
So let's just come back to you with a current program that you're running. You're giving out the laptops to them. If you can tell us more about that.
Okay, so the program is the December for Women Who Code. So basically what we do is it's a yearly fundraiser where we seek to solicit for funds from the public and organizations that support our cause. And these funds go directly into making sure that we cater for underprivileged women in tech and then help them with resources. So this year, we are helping women who are underprivileged in tech with laptops. We have some women who have gotten scholarships to study some programs, some women who have been learning to code. They code with their phones. Some of them code with very faulty laptops or borrowed laptops. And so this December is for these women. What we are doing is that we are soliciting for the funds from public, and then through these donations, we are going to now buy laptops for these women. So that is basically what December for Women Who Code is about. And 2021 is about getting laptops for these women. Who knows, next year we might be getting them something better, but this year it's solely for laptops for these women. We're looking at 10 women, but we hope that we will be able to exceed our fundraising targets of $5,000 and then procure laptops for more than the women that we have planned for.
So being in the space of tech, right? I totally agree with what you said. Like we don't see a lot of women. Now we see glimpses, you know, it's like coming, but we don't see a lot of women. Like, what has been your major challenge trying to embark on this journey, on this course, like trying to beat that, you know, the environmental thing, the stigma and everything? Like, what are some of the major challenges that you face with what you do, like trying to project women in tech? Okay,
so some people still do not buy into the idea of putting women out there or having opportunities just for women, because sometimes there are some job opportunities that you see people say women are strongly encouraged to apply, or it's only open for women, and people think that that means that we are now pushing the guys down and then putting the women up. But I keep saying that women have always been disadvantaged from time, and this is the time that we need to push them. So nobody is saying that we want to push men to the side, but we are striving for gender equality. So if there are 10 men, there should also be 10 women who are capable of also reaching that. So people, we've had to sort of engineer the minds of people to understand that we are not trying to push away the other gender, but we're also just trying to boost the confidence of women to achieve the same things that a man can achieve.
So what's the long term plan for Because She Can?
Okay, so for Because She Can, our main goal is to make sure that we reach all women at every angle or every corner of the world with what we do. And so our long-term goal is to be able to expand throughout Africa and also the world at large. We want to be able to be that one organization that when you hear Because She Can, recruiters, companies like industry players would want to recruit girls from Because She Can in their companies, because we are looking at having training programs from next year. We'll be having mid-year boot camps. We'll be having one-day training programs to introduce women to programs like web development or data science as well. And so we want to be that one organization that when you hear Because She Can, you know that girls from Because She Can are actually good at what they do, and then I would want to have them working in my company for me. And also, Because She Can, we see ourselves helping women in tech in general. And so aside, like how we are buying laptops for women in tech this December, we are also looking at having probably a scholarship scheme. We have women in the university who want to study, maybe they want to pursue their master's degree in a technical discipline, like maybe cybersecurity or data science or artificial intelligence. We want them to be able to write it because she can and tell us that, you know what, this is what I want to do and I would like you to be able to sponsor us. And we hope that will be that organization that has funds enough or has the platform that will be able to reach out to many people to be able to help these women. So that is the long-term goal for Because She Can.
So speaking of expansion and everything, someone wants to find you, social media, wherever. How do they get in touch?
Yeah, so they can go to becauseshecan.tech. That's our main website. And then we also have our social media handles. So on Twitter and Instagram is becauseshecan_. It's everything combined. Yeah. And then we have LinkedIn Because She Can. And then on Facebook becauseshecan.africa. So it's easy to find us. Yeah.
All right. So keep watching Tech Today. We'll be right back. That was an exciting and informative conversation that I just had. Now, up next, we have our favorite feature, my personal favorite feature. That's the app of the week. For this week, I have ClickUp. And if you've used Trello, Asana, there are many project management apps, but this is quite my personal favorite, and I have a video for you on that. Let's just go for our app for the week.
We all know the crazy chaos caused by trying to use more than one app for productivity. There has to be a better way to work. It's time for change. That's why we created ClickUp. ClickUp is an entire productivity platform that keeps all of your work organized in one beautifully intuitive place. Now you can use one app for everything. With ClickUp, plan and create custom views that you can share with anyone. Tasks, calendars, docs, spreadsheets, timelines, goals, mind maps, and you can even embed custom views. It's one app to replace them all. Inbox is a new way to plan your day. Using AI, everyone will know exactly what to work on next, while keeping reminders, events, and scheduled tasks all in sync. When you're ready to take off, ClickUp automatically imports your stuff from any app you're already using. And in the unlikely event that you still need to use other apps, ClickUp integrates with literally thousands of them. ClickUp is now the fastest growing productivity app with over 50,000 teams getting more done every day. Let's make the world more productive together.
All right, so that was our app for the week. Up next, for the final feature, we have our tech tip for the week. A lot of us have been doing road trips. We've been capturing beautiful scenes and everything. But today, I'm just going to show you how to capture the most amazing scenery when you do your road trips, when you just see like a mountain, trees that you want to capture. That's our tech tip for this week.
Hi, I'm Gab Skanu. I'm a professional photographer and filmmaker, and today I'm going to be sharing a few tips and techniques on how you can create epic cinematic nature videos using the Galaxy S21 Ultra. A cinematic video is shot in a style that makes your footage look dramatic and polished through a number of different film techniques that we're going to use today to capture a climb to the summit here in the beautiful Blue Mountains National Park. Firstly, there's nothing more distracting than a video with an exposure constantly shifting up and down. The first thing I do to avoid this and to keep my footage looking consistent is to shoot using Pro Video mode. This mode lets me manually control settings such as ISO and shutter speed so I can lock in and achieve a consistent style through all my clips. Things tend to happen pretty quickly when we're out in nature, so I'd recommend shooting in 60 frames per second. This gives me the option to slow down my footage later on and drag out those little moments an extra second or two for dramatic effect. Never be afraid to get up close and personal and create some movement around the subjects you're shooting. From my experience, movement is one of the best techniques for making your videos more exciting and immersive. Instead of standing still and hitting record, try moving back and forth or left to right around a particular subject. This will help keep your video flowing as well as creating some scale and depth of field around whatever it is you're wanting to capture. Feel free to get creative with these movements and experiment with what works best for the particular location that you're in. Sometimes when we're exploring the outdoors, we might find ourselves in a tight spot, so it's important to be able to adapt to your surroundings and capture them in a way that complements their best features. This is an awesome opportunity to make use of your different focal lenses. To shoot using your wide lens, just tap the 3 trees icon to open up your shot. Shooting landscapes with a wide field of view will allow us to fit more in our frame and capture a wider, more epic landscape in all its beauty. So now that you've learned some new techniques, let's check out the results.
Okay, so that was another exciting episode of Tech Today right here on MX24. Today I had a very interesting conversation with the co-founders of Because She Can. You can follow them on all social media platforms, as she said. You can also follow me at Eddie Koomson, EDDYKOOMSON on all social media platforms. Until next week, it's good night from me.
Hey, Abrantia, Aketesia, Ibi Family, Charlie, MX24. My baby, must say, baby, about them people that do Mumma and bad.
Hey guys, this is your girl Bishasha.
This is the best MC, best hype man in Ghana 2020. I beg you success, the highest MC. Keep watching MX24.
It is fun, it is fearless, it is factual.
Ice Adonis, the story of stepsisters whose rivalry turns to hatred when one sister is framed for murder. From the action-packed opening episode featuring a prison break followed by a dramatic fight at a wedding, the story twists and turns through 5 years as the wrong sister battles to win back the life and love stolen from her. Be ready for the suspense, the excitement, and the emotional roller coaster. An addictive tale of hatred, rivals, manipulation, and deceit, set in the glamorous world of the cosmetics industry. Ice Adonis premieres on MX24 this July. For sponsorship and inquiries, call 0243 024 552.
Sweet, but your love is sweeter. My hair, you take for my hair. I know fit to reset.
The gossip, maybe I was born faithful until the first female who suddenly broke a vow.
I feel like you don't be my baby.
What else?
I broke down my business. I'll show you, you go buy to.
And you know, I hire a permanent fan. Yeah, free cocoa, being called, yeah, bad things go from a side. I come aside.
No hands. Still I can't believe. You know what I mean? I was young, what you expect from me? It is what it is.
Dreaming of a property for your home or workspace is one thing, but finding the property